This Hangouts is now live on air. I apologize to everybody about the inconvenience with the echo, but everything should be a lot smoother now. We should be good to go. And yeah, let's just jump right back into it.
All right.
So we were talking about starting this book. How do you got started as a creator? What was the reasoning for like getting into a comic book and you know we touched on wanting to try something, want to at least give it a shot. I totally understand that. I mean, working a 9 to 5 job, I'm like, you know what, I like comic books, I like YouTube, I see people making content online, let me go into it. So I totally understand where you guys are coming from. um but yeah, so Samurai Grandpa, where does an idea like this even come from? An old man with a samurai, you know.
Um, that one that kind of came to me. My wife and we used to live in New York, and we were stuck on the George Washington Bridge in traffic going to visit some family, and I was very much into Samurai Jack at the time, and I think I was acting pretty cranky in the car. I might have like karate chopped the steering wheel or something like that. And she was like, "You're acting like a samurai grandpa right now." Um, and when she said it, like those two words, all of a sudden I was like, "Oh man, that could be a story. Like there's something to that." And we were bored in the car; we had nothing to do, so we started talking about it. Um, and like when you get the idea for something and it just kind of keeps going, it germinates. So eventually I started writing a script for it. Shawn and I had already kind of known each other through Twitter at that point, and I saw that he recently, or maybe I had the idea, and then he posted that he was up for work, and I said, let me reach out to Shawn and see if he's interested in this. And so I kind of pitched it to him, and then we kind of went from there.
That's amazing. It's amazing how a simple car ride, a simple couple
Yeah.
words can spark something that snowballs into this magnificent story. And here we are, how many years later, talking about it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the best ideas, they just come from like doing things and like living and, not thinking of those ideas, you know what I mean?
Right.
It feels like anyways.
Yeah. And props to you because so many people get ideas, but they never actually execute. They never try to put one foot forward. So that's incredible that you were able to say, you know what, let's see where this goes. Now before, because I stumbled upon this book with midtowncomics.com. I was online ordering books and I seen this. And like you said, Samurai Jack, I was a huge Samurai Jack fan. So I gravitated right towards this book. And once I read it, I was blown away. The inside artwork, a friend of mine was like, this book is almost poetic at times. And reading the book and seeing the artwork and how it's like a yin and yang and everything flows so beautifully together. And this artwork is just incredible. Um, there's a couple artists out there that no matter where they do work, I see their artwork and I instantly know who this is. Um, I was fortunate to have a conversation with Bob, another Source Point Press creator, and he gave me a book, Ogre. And at the moment I opened this book, I instantly knew who the artist was.
Yep.
So it's incredible that your artwork stood out that much to me that I was able to instantly recognize it with one flip of a page.
That's very cool. It's neat to hear. I mean, that's like what you want when you start learning how to draw or trying to figure out how to make comics, is to work in a style that's recognizable at least. So that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear that.
Heck yeah. And I know a lot of people feel the same. I've Wednesdays we have like a review show, and a buddy of mine, Tank Collects, just once we brought this book up, he was just like over the moon with it, and so was I. And as soon as I read it, I'm like, I got to see if I can contact these guys. I got to do something with them. I got to know more about this. I got to see if there's going to be more, because it's currently a book 1 of 4. And is there going to be anything coming after this? Should people get invested in this?
Yeah. I hope so. I hope people get invested in it. We have a second volume script done and complete. Shawn actually had an idea for a sort of prequel sequel, which deals with, I don't know, Perry, I don't know if you got to read the entire thing yet. I sent you the PDF, and you have a hardcover on the way.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, so I won't spoil anything. But we do have an idea for it's Oji-chan, Samurai Grandpa when he's younger, and it really gets into a little bit more about his life. You get a little bit of an origin story on the main villain, Orochi. You get a little bit more of that, and then we even have the idea planned for 2 more volumes following the events of the current book. So we do have a lot planned. We definitely have another 4-issue series planned, ready to go. Probably starting production sometime in the fall for that. But that's done, ready to go. We just need to get to actually producing that one.
Awesome. Yeah, and I was going to finish reading it. I read the second one and I had to stop myself because I don't want to start talking about a book that a lot of people haven't read yet and start spoiling things for people. So I'm like, let me pump the brakes on this book and let me get through the interview so I could sit down and finish reading these last 2 issues. But no, everything I've been reading has been terrific, incredible. I love the flashback to when he finds his son murdered and he sees that tree on the piece of paper and he instantly recognizes who it could be and he can't believe it. And you actually see that flashback of him younger being a fearless, swift, incredible samurai. And I'm like, I want to see more of that younger version of him.
And that's what you will get in our next volume. He's a little bit arrogant. He's in his prime. He is who he thinks he is, and he kind of gets himself into some trouble. But it should be fun. Yeah.
There might even be a bit more of that in the second collected version that we do, because we do have a smaller story about him. It's like 10 pages or so, Eastin?
Yeah. We actually have two short stories already. So we have about 20 pages of younger Oji-chan, and the kind of shenanigans he gets himself into.
Oh, I definitely can't wait to keep reading and see that younger version of himself because I'm extremely drawn to that.
Cool.
It looks super cool. But let me run through real quick because we have a few good people in the community that are in the chat. So I just want to say a hello to them, greetings, and a welcome. So we have Boricua Comics in the chat. We have Downright Nerdy Podcast. We have Nest Master. We have Pierre. We have Comic Jabroni, Just a Little Podcast. We have Sam I Am, Comics for All People. Let's see, The Comic Book Villain. We have Discovery Bay Comics. Let's see, Caleb the Comic Smurf, Hialeah Comics. Awesome people in the community. I'm glad they're here to watch this. And for all the people in the replay, I hope you guys go out and get Samurai Grandpa. We have issue 2 coming out July 31st, I believe, at the end of this month, which I can't wait to get. And if you guys haven't, go ahead and pick this up. It's still available online. I know I usually go to Midtown Comics for my online purchases whenever my LCS doesn't get it. And there's actually a ASM 300 homage cover. I'm not sure if it's sold out or not, but it looks freaking amazing.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun little project to put together. I was super stoked when I heard that that's what they wanted. I was like, yeah, of course I want to do that.
Oh yeah, and then I even seen someone online posting action figures of Samurai Grandpa. I'm like, oh, we getting a toy set coming next? You know,
that was really cool. I think Shawn, you sent me a DM showing me that, and I was like, what? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, the guy Plastic Predicaments, I think is his Instagram handle, and he was using some of the some Star Wars figures that he kind of takes apart and manipulates, and then he paints them and I don't know, does all kinds of crazy stuff. And he made like a one of a kind Oji-chan figure, and he did a little photo shoot based off the first issue, which was like probably one of the coolest things I've seen. Honestly,
yeah, because the book just came out. Like the first issue came out, and I seen some like behind the scenes photos, and this guy put like a full like a whole set, like going above and beyond. And I was like, wow, like this book is moving people, you know?
Yeah, that was one of the coolest things I've seen. I think to do with the Samurai Grandpa. So neat, so neat.
Yeah. Let me just grab this real quick. So I do have a couple questions because you guys seem like extremely busy, man. Now, Easton, you said you were going to college to become a English teacher.
Yeah, I went. I went for my undergrad for English. I was English majors with a certification in teaching secondary high school level English. I did that for a couple of years, and then I moved into teaching ESL and sort of kept going to now I work in sort of like as an administrator position in international education, where we work with students coming from all over the world to the U.S. to study in high school and go to college.
So now this Samurai Grandpa is a like a night project for you, like
Oh yeah,
a side gig almost.
yeah. That's my second job, I guess. That's what my wife calls it, and I think that it's pretty accurate. When I'm done with the day job, usually around like 4 or 5, I'll hang out, try and do some family stuff, and then I just try and find time to write, whether it's before work or after work. Just try and work on scripts and story ideas and things like that. So yeah, it's a second job, but it's a passion. I love doing it. I don't know what I would do with my time if I wasn't sort of,
That's incredible. I
Yeah.
know how it is. You're juggling the day job, you're juggling the hobby passion, and then you got the family and the kids, and
Yeah,
it's not easy.
it's a lot for sure. Yeah, but it's good. You do the things you love. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really work at that point.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then Shawn, you're in the music industry. How does that go from being in the music industry into comic books?
Well, I started in music. Like I went to college for music production, and then I worked in that industry for about 5 or 6 years at recording studios, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. So I kind of got out of that, and then at around the time that I was leaving that industry, I started reading a ton of comic books. And then a couple of years later, I decided that I just wanted to take a stab at either writing them or drawing them, but I couldn't afford to hire an artist at the time, so I figured I would just buy books and kind of go from there, try to teach myself how to do it. And then I don't know, I blacked out, and now here I am.
But it's incredible because I tried drawing when I was younger. I did art class and stuff, and most people start there with the micro pens or pencils and paper. How do you go with ink and watercolors and create like this unique, almost in the beginnings of an iconic look? Because I could recognize your work the moment I see it.
Yeah,
cool.
For sure.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, all the guys, all the cartoonists that had influenced me were all working in mediums like this. Jeff Lemire, Matt Kint, even Akira Toriyama, who did Dragon Ball, he uses like a kind of inky washy style every once in a while when he's not doing the typical solid black line work. And also the artist who drew all the original Pokemon, Ken Sugimori, was doing a ton of watercolor stuff. And I always just appreciated that aesthetic. And I guess kind of just wanted to see if that was something that I could work with.
I'd say you knocked it out the park.
I think if I can just add a little anecdote, I think at the time when Shawn and I were just talking about doing Samurai Grandpa, he was mentioning that he could do digital color or watercolor, and I've seen his watercolor or his ink washes from his book Terraquill, and I was like, oh man, this is a no-brainer. Like we have to do the watercolor for this story, and then I think as we got further into it, Shawn was like, yeah, this is the vibe and the aesthetic.
Yeah, I'm happy that.
I think since then you haven't even gone back to digital, right?
I haven't. I don't know if I can actually. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't feel the same. It wouldn't be as much fun.
Oh yeah, like I was saying, if you guys haven't checked out his Instagram, because he's got these little mini clips where you just start to see him like paint and ink, and it's mesmerizing. It's incredible that it must be incredible hard to do it, but you make it look just super easy, like it's second nature.
Well, it's
I
fun.
can do that. No, I can't.
Well, I'm glad that people enjoy watching it, and I love answering questions about artwork and process and stuff like that. So I'm always happy when other people uh, who are kind of drawing themselves and like figuring it out and learning just have questions that they can toss my way. And so if anyone's listening and they do have questions, please feel free to ask them. I'll always do what I can to help out.
Oh yeah, I always try to draw on the side. It's very horrible artwork, but I enjoy like getting a cover and trying to like recreate the cover from that week. It's just fun, but what you do is just so amazing. If you ever do a Udemy class, let me know. I'd definitely watch it.
Keep that in mind.
Now, you guys say you guys read comics. Are you guys like new comic book day people where you go to your LCS and pick up a new book, or is it digital?
It's for me, it's a little bit of a mix. I when I was in New York, I had a good friend of mine who owns a comic book shop, Bailey's Comics, and just can do a shout out. And I was there religiously every single Wednesday, whether I was going on a lunch break for work or if I had to wait a couple days, I'd find time to get there. It was to the point where I was spending way too much money on comics. And I had to start cutting back. I ended up moving. My wife and I and some family moved down to North Carolina. Where we live now, the comic book shops are a little bit farther away, so it's a little bit harder for me to get to. So I don't really have a pull box set up, but I still go and I'll pick up the stuff I can find. I will order sometimes, like from Midtown. Like they make it super easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll still read some digital stuff. But I do look forward to looking at what's coming out and checking out new books every week for sure. I mean, honestly, there's just too many good books to keep up with at this point. It's really hard.
It's an expensive hobby at this point. When you're spending $40-$50 a week on comic books, you're like, man, this is getting a little bit out of control.
Yep. That's the point I was getting to, and I said, I might maybe need to cut back a little bit. We got some diapers to pay for.
Oh yeah, family's always got to come first.
Yeah.
But I do have a question in the chat. I don't know if Sean's still with us. I mean, I can't see his face there, but someone wanted to know what were you guys' thoughts on David Mack, because he kind of almost has the same similar art style.
Sean might be able to answer that, but I don't know where he went.
Oh, his internet just died.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back online.
I mean, I love David Mack's art. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. it really is. Like right now, I think he's doing a Xena book, Xena Warrior Princess, and I don't really read Xena, but once it's got a David Mack cover on there, I have to pick it up.
That's the thing, and that's the point I was getting to with my weekly pull. I was like, oh, that's a pretty sweet cover. I think I'm just gonna get that because that cover is amazing. What did he? I think one of the things that really stood out to me. Did he do a Bendis Daredevil run?
He did.
He did, right?
He did a Daredevil run. I'm not sure if it was Bendis, but I know he did a Daredevil run, which I don't read Daredevil. A lot of people make fun of me because I think it's silly that he can't see what he looks like. But I have a few Daredevil books just because they're David Mack. But yeah.
Yeah, I think when I picture his art, I'm picturing those covers. And yeah, his stuff is it's like next level.
It really is. Now, besides artists, are there any writers that influence you or that you enjoy reading, or someone like I know right now Donny Cates is on fire. Everybody loves any Donny Cates book that comes out.
Let's see. As far as I guess if you want to say established writers, yeah, Donny Cates is great. He's doing really, really good work. His Venom stuff is on fire, and I think Maximum Carnage? Is it?
Absolute Carnage.
Absolute Carnage. Maximum was maybe an older arc. But yeah, Absolute is coming out. Scott Snyder. He was a teacher of mine, and anything that he writes, I love. One of his books that really inspires me every time I look at is AD After Death, the image book that he did with Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire is another one who I love. I'll read pretty much anything by him. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I read a lot of indie stuff nowadays. Though I love checking out some new voices, new ideas, and just kind of supporting people who are just like looking to do what they love, sort of thing. So yeah, those are a few though that definitely inspire me. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
no, I totally agree with that. When I was a teenager, I was more into Marvel and DC, and Marvel books just started getting like out of hand a bit with their A through
yeah,
Z covers for every single book they're coming out with. And then I focused on my DC, and the last couple weeks to months, it's been more of my indie list is growing and growing and growing, and I love it.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, Sean.
Sorry, my internet just imploded on itself. So as happens.
Well, glad you're back. Let's see. Oh no, we had a question before. Do you like or are you influenced in any way by David Mack? Because I know David Mack's a big artist, and he kind of has that same watercolory style, if you would.
Yeah. I mean, the mixed media stuff that he does is wild. Like, I look at his work and I'm just stunned. It's like I can't believe what I'm seeing. His work's a lot of fun to look at and try to dissect. Like, look at the choices that he's made and the techniques that he's using, and really just try and understand why and how, of course, too. So yeah, David Mack, thumbs up, thumbs way up,
All the way.
yeah, all the way up.
Oh yeah, I was telling Eastin right now he's doing a Xena Warrior Princess run where I don't really read the book, but that artwork out is just top notch. It's hard to turn it down.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Cool. Got some more people in the chat. We got comic book villain. We got the immortal Biggie Shack, who's an awesome member of the community.
Cool.
We got let's see, we got 90 MF Comics, another local Floridian, and so is Caleb the Smurf, Unruly Simeon, John's Comics for Kids. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Definitely go out and pick up Samurai Grandpa. Issue number 1, totally available still. Head up your LCS, because I know there's a lot of LCSs where you'll order an indie book that they don't have, and they'll order like 1 or 2 extra copies.
Yeah.
And those 2 extra copies could motivate somebody else to say, huh, what's that?
Yeah. That word of mouth, that's like the biggest thing for indie books.
Mm-hmm.
You can't beat it, really.
Oh yeah. And I don't like to just push any book, but when I read a book and I sit down and 2 days later I open it up and I read it again, that's a very rare thing for me. But Samurai Grandpa was definitely rereadable, enjoyable. There's certain parts where there's he's an old man. So to see him walk into the woods filled with monkey ninjas and just completely destroy them, it kind of took me back to, I don't know if anyone's watched Batman Beyond, the first episode where old Bruce Wayne is taking out all the Jokers.
Yeah.
It instantly clicked like, oh my God, this is like a perfect reincarnation, but like a samurai with monkeys. But that's just the same exact feel and same thing that it drew out of me. But I love it.
That's awesome. That's so cool to hear. Yeah. I distinctly remember that episode now that you mentioned that.
And it's an iconic moment where you see old Bruce Wayne, beat up some Jokers.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got just a little podcast. I want that Spider-Man homage cover. Well, you better hurry up. I think I might be sold out. It's a hot cover.
It's almost there. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Let's see. We got Tony Fett says, I'm listening while bagging and boarding. Well, listen away. Oh yeah, but no, this is an incredible book. I can't give it enough props. It put me on the Source Point Press because I didn't know anything about this publisher. I started diving into it and I found some other great books, some other great writers and creators. It's just amazing, the indies, and how people can have a 9-to-5 normal job, come home, sit down, turn a computer on, open a book, take out a pen, and just make magic on their off time.
Yeah, everybody at Source Point is so hardworking. Like, it blows my mind to see just how much everyone who is a part of it just cares so much about it. And that makes for such an awesome environment to be working in, and just so many cool people to work with as well. Super fortunate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think Sean was publishing Terraquil, his book, with them. And then he was like, "Hey, let's talk about Samurai Grandpa." And honestly, every single person there has been super supportive, and just like, you know, when you're surrounded by other people who just share the passion and who just want to make it work, and everyone's looking out for each other. It's not like, I don't know. It's just like it was really comfortable, like going in and working with everyone. Everyone's been super cool and supportive. I did my first con with them recently at Heroes Con in Charlotte, and it was just so much fun. Yeah,
That's so cool. I wish I could have been there for that.
Oh man, one day.
One day, yeah.
John and I still have never actually met. So he thinks that I might be a robot. Grips at this point.
You never know. I'm just saying.
It's incredible, the power of the internet. How two people could never meet, never seen each other in the flesh, are able to work together and transfer files back and forth and communicate and just come out with something amazing. I love how the back of this book, it promotes some of Shawn's other work, but this cardstock cover in the front has like such a unique texture to it that the moment I took it out the bag and board and I felt it, I was like, huh, this is really nice. You know, like this is some nice quality.
Yeah. When I first saw a print copy when I was at Heroes Con, I was like, dang, this is some nice quality print.
Is that Kraken, Eastin? Do you know if that's?
I think it is. I think it is Kraken.
Yeah. Shout out to them. Super good work all around.
Yeah. That Kraken's a printer, Perry. Sorry.
Oh, he's an okay.
We're not talking in code.
Okay.
yeah.
The Russian spies are listening.
That's right. Yeah.
Though, what was I going to get to? For those of you who don't know, this book didn't just start out of the thin air. It was actually a Kickstarter. So how does something work with a Kickstarter? Because I see a lot of new indie books are starting the beginning process, and I know that must be incredibly stressful to open up a web page, start a Kickstarter, and put something on there and pray to God that somebody comes across that and wants to support it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's you know, you have an idea that you think is good and worthy of people's time and money and commitment, and you know, you put it out there. It's super stressful and intimidating to start. But when we started this, I had done one Kickstarter before for a comic book called Hal. It was a werewolf apocalypse horror story. Shawn had done Terra Quill. And you know, at this point we were just like, hey, we need the funds to produce this book. Let's go for it. Kickstarter is it's really awesome. It's fun. You get to meet a lot of cool people. And really connect with the people who are into what you're doing. They're really buying into it, and you establish that relationship with them. It's also really stressful though, because there is that level of, oh my God, are we going to succeed? And like every single day I'm refreshing my emails, I'm looking at the page. Are we going to meet our goal? And then once you meet the goal, it's like, okay, now we have to get to work. So there's that extra level. Now you have to deliver on what you're promising. That's how I feel about it. I love Kickstarter. It's a ton of work though, but it is super rewarding. And honestly, I've made through this book alone a lot of pretty good friends through it. So I would recommend anyone who's looking to do an indie book and start out. Kickstarter is definitely the way to go, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd second that. I think it's to me right now the best crowdfunding platform for comics at the moment that I've used anyways.
Oh yeah. Now it must be what an incredible feeling to actually see as the days goes by and you just see you hit your goal, your first goal, and like, all right, this is now a dream that's all right, this is becoming a reality. This is something this is happening, you know. I couldn't even imagine how incredible of a feeling that must be to see a passion project that you're doing on your off time start to flourish in front of your eyes.
It's very cool. It's almost surreal, I think. Like it's nice knowing that you can put something out there and people actually care about it. Like somebody wants to read this. It's just a real like feel good moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty neat. Like seeing when we were funded fully. then we actually met a couple of stretch goals. Like we were going to do a soft cover paperback trade in the beginning, and we met a stretch goal to do a 10-page backup story. People were invested; they wanted to see that, so we were like, okay, this is awesome. And then Shawn and I had to talk about what exactly that was going to be, and we put that in production. And then we ended up, luckily, with a hardcover, which was like really, really neat to see that enough people were invested to back for that. So yeah, it's just so cool seeing people like say, "Hey, I like your idea. You know, let's see what we can do all together as a community."
Yeah,
really neat.
Oh yeah. Now I know you mentioned you went to Heroes Con. Is there more cons in your future, or is that it for the rest of this year?
I would love to get to some more. I honestly don't know what I could do logistically. Like we were saying before, family comes first, and we have to figure out what we can do there. I have to travel a bit for my day job, so when I'm traveling on the weekends, that sometimes becomes a little too much. But if I can fit it in, I'm more than happy to. I mean, I love going to cons. They're really so much fun.
Oh yeah, I just went to my first con this year over at Orlando MegaCon in Florida, and
oh, that's a good one here. Yeah.
yeah, so a lot of people were telling me it's one of like the biggest cons.
Yeah,
and what an incredible time! I couldn't even get to everybody. It was just it's incredible seeing, because you have like an artist alley, how many different independent creators there are, and how they're passionate. They're sitting there, they're answering questions, they want to get involved with you, they want to show you their passion.
Yeah.
So
it's I almost I feel bad sometimes because I just want to get everything. I want to buy this book, that book, but I usually just bring a certain amount of cash, and then I say, after this, I'm done. I can't credit card here.
Oh yeah, no, I know it burns a hole in your pocket quick.
Yeah.
So many cool things. Yeah. And now, Shawn, you have such a unique artwork. Do you do commission work, like for covers?
Yeah, I've done like covers and commission work for stuff like that. Every once in a while, it kind of depends just on the workload that I have at the moment. But yeah, I've done covers for other books and even like some novels and stuff like that. One or two for independent video games as well. I love doing work like that. It's so vastly different than like panel layouts or like working on a comic book page. That it's actually like super refreshing, from the standard comic work. It's very cool.
That's awesome. I might have to talk with you and try to get myself a cover from you, because I really like your work, man. I gotta have something hanging on my wall.
Sure. I got lots, so hit me up.
That is awesome. Let me see. All right, so we touched on Samurai Grandpa. We know that we have much more to come after these 4 issues, which I want to reiterate again. Go over to Midtown Comics. I see we actually have someone in the chat that said they just bought their copy, that they're limited to 1 per person over on Midtown.
Yeah.
Second issue comes out, I believe, July 31st, and then in August and September to follow. And then we have a new book 2 coming after that, which is going to be like a story on his backstory almost.
Yeah. You get into Oji-chan. He's younger. You learn about his family, and a little bit about it kind of sets things in motion for what happens in the current book and then what's to come. So it's a prequel sequel that sets because it sets things up for the final 2 volumes that we do hope to get to one day.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I get a little overwhelmed thinking about it, but we can do it.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I mean, what I've read from the script that you sent, it's so much fun. Like, I can't wait to start drawing this book.
So is that how it works? You come up with a script and you send it over to Shawn, and he starts just putting everything together? Because I know Shawn does the artwork as well as the lettering.
Right. Yeah. Usually, I mean, Eastin will write the script, send it over. We'll throw ideas back and forth, And then once we're cool with that, I'll move into layouts, which are just like these tiny little thumbnail sketches of the chapter that we're working on. I'll send those to Eastin. We'll do the same thing where we're exchanging ideas on how we want to. It's a really collaborative effort, which is maybe the best part of the process. Is just bouncing ideas back and forth, figuring out the way we both want to move forward with it, and just going from there. It's very, we really talk a lot about every step of the process almost.
It's very organic, no top down telling you what to do and trying to control everything. Is very like letting both your passions run wild and trying to make it all work and come together.
Yeah. For sure. In the first script I sent to Shawn, he had a lot of amazing ideas that really enhanced the story that I hadn't thought of from certain perspectives. So we implemented those, and I think it really benefited the book. And the second volume that we're going to get to work on in the fall, the initial story idea was Shawn's, and we started talking about it. We both loved it, and so then I went back and worked on the script. So now Shawn's reviewing the script, and then we're going to get to work on there. So it is really like super collaborative, and I think like that is the appeal of working in comics to me. I wrote one novel, and that is super lonely. You don't really have the feedback or the back and forth. You can, but it's kind of like just someone being like, this doesn't really work. This works. This is cool. This not so good. But when you're working with comics, it's just like, oh, what about this? This sounds great, and you're kind of just going back and forth. It is, like you said, super organic. It's just a really fun process for sure.
Yeah, and we don't have editors as well, which is kind of cool. Nothing against editors. I would love to work with one day just to experience that process. But it's kind of nice that we just,
in that regard, though, it's kind of like Shawn and I are each other's editors in that process, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, good.
Because there are times where he'll call me out and be like, this scene, this beat doesn't really work at all. And then we'll be like, that's right. Actually, it's a kind of a waste of space. I think I was like in the first issue, I was like, let's put Oji-chan's foot walking through the dust, and I was like, that's just not economical for the panels that we have. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of a waste of time. Let's move on.
Oh no, that's awesome. I really love the layout and a lot of. Let me just bring it up here so people can see the white space. Where did that come about? Because your white space is like textured. It has like these soft, almost faint. You can't tell because it's not straight white. It's like you put effort into the white space of the comic, which you don't really see too many people doing that.
Ideally, you want to use up as much space as you can doing something with it. And of course, there's nothing wrong with just leaving it completely blank or white. But I kind of just wanted to add as much information to the page as I could without busying it up too much. So that's kind of just part of the style that I kind of chose to work in for this particular book.
No, that's awesome. I like it because a lot of books you see like the hard white lines and it's just, all right, they're there. It's fine. But this is like, it's very easy on the eyes. And even the borders around each panel, it's just very organic and it just looks like an ink brush just closing off each panel. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's good to hear. I'm glad it's not the opposite of that.
Should I turn on my light here? I feel like I'm sitting in the dark. The sun went down. I'm just going to turn this out real quick.
Now we get a Nestmaster saying the prequel sequel that's the follow after issue 4. Is there any type of release date or time frame as to when that will be released?
No, not yet. I don't know, Shawn. What do you think? I guess
if I had to say off the top of my head, just based on schedule stuff, I would say early 2020, like very early 2020.
Yeah, that seems realistic.
Yeah, like not long from now at all, really. Early 2020.
That's good. So it's very like we get some Samurai Grandpa leading into September, a little bit of a break for the winter, and then we're going to pick up the new year with a new book.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hopefully right around the end of once issue 4 is out and people have read it, we'll be able to start showing and talking about some stuff from the new book. Probably soon after that. Yeah.
Yeah, and also before that happens, we have a couple short stories as well that we'll be releasing with the second trade as well. I think the second short story, Eastin, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't publish that one. Is that right?
No, that one has not been released. Yeah, so Perry, we have plans to do a collected trade of the book under Source Point Press, and we have one short story that was published in the Kickstarter that you'll see. That's a little bit of background between Oji-chan and Kitsune, the shape-shifting nine-tailed fox. And then we have another short story that you get into actually a little bit of the history of the ninja monkeys and Oji-chan's relationship with them. And that one will be brand new in the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait for that one.
So it's like 20 pages of content if Travis lets us do that, I guess.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So do you guys have anything before we wrap this up? Do you guys have any other projects or anything else you guys are working on that you want to let people know about?
Shawn, I know you're working on only a couple things.
There's a few things going on. I'm sitting here right now inking the next volume of Ogre. I don't know if you can see any of that.
But that's a beautiful page.
Just getting that done. The first issue will be out next month. We're doing, I don't know if I was supposed to say anything, but we're doing a surprise, well, not surprise anymore, Fan Expo exclusive for Ogres #1. So that will be dropping next month at Fan Expo Toronto, or Fan Expo Canada in Toronto. And then I've got more Terrical stuff on the way, and I'm drawing a book called The Better Place, which is, can't say too much about it right now, but I've been posting a lot of previews of it on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. It's written by an awesome writer named Dwayne Murray, who lives here in Ontario, and I can't wait to get this book out. It's going to be just so much fun. So those are kind of like the big things that I'm working on right now. And then I do have stuff that is not Samurai Grandpa related that Eastin and I are doing as well. In fact, we're having a little chat about that after this.
Some more magic to come.
Yeah, Shawn and I do have. I'm super pumped for a Better Place. So
Thank you.
Yeah, that looks great. So Shawn and I we do have a book that's super early in the works, but we're super excited about. Not Samurai Grandpa. More to come. Perry will definitely let you know when it's time to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm working on a fantasy comic with Jordan Johnson is the artist. He's actually done some Dynamite work. Betty Page book, I think he did some work on. We're kind of in the early stages of art on issue 1 of that. And then I'm working on another book with an artist, Lidan Chen. And that's going to be more probably of a graphic novel, straight up, not month-to-month issues, that she's getting to work on layouts probably this month, actually. Yeah, we were supposed to start in July. So yeah, I'm going to be touching base with her soon. And then, we have Samurai Grandpa, and then just, staying busy.
You guys are firing off on all cylinders, huh?
You have to.
Yeah, you got to get ahead, to keep the momentum going. There's not enough time to sit down and watch TV and relax. You got to just keep going and going and going.
You got to prioritize, right? I mean, I still haven't watched season 3 of Stranger Things because
I'm on episode 5. What a great show! Definitely take a break from the Samurai Grandpa and definitely give yourself some time to watch some Stranger Things.
I can't wait.
Very cool. So I appreciate you guys coming on. Definitely go out to Midtown Comics or your local comic book shop. Request they get Samurai Grandpa issue number 1. It is fantastic, phenomenal artwork. The writing in this book is incredible. Go out and pick up issue number 2 coming out the end of July 31st, if I'm not mistaken. I appreciate having both of you guys on today, and I'll see everybody later.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks again.